6 on our list of the greatest ever, the quintessentially British nuclear bomber and star of the James Bond film Thunderball, the Avro Vulcan.
The Avro Vulcan has a sculptural beauty that's just mind-stopping. You look at the airplane and you think, my God, what a beautiful airplane.
The Vulcan was a marvelous airplane to show off in. I mean, you know, at air shows and things like that, it was tremendous.
The triangular or delta-winged Vulcan grew out of the RAF's need for a nuclear attack bomber that could go the distance, Moscow and back. First showing off the very fashionable nuclear flash white, the Vulcan went operational in 1960. It could carry 10,000 kilos of nuclear or conventional bombs. That's roughly equivalent to 12 family cars.
The Avro Vulcan was a phenomenon for its age. Here we got a huge delta, pure delta, and is going to operate at 60,000 feet and be a nuclear penetrator against the Soviet Union. That's what it was designed to do. Do that wonderfully well. Wonderfully well.
The Vulcan is powered by 4 Olympus jet engines that put out a total of 36,000 kilos of thrust, giving a maximum speed approximately 0.95 Mach, or 1,000 kilometers an hour. And the Vulcan, or Tin Triangle, also had a reputation for having the agile flying characteristics of a fighter, not a bomber.
The aircraft is very maneuverable, and certainly during its heyday, contemporary fighters just could not outturn it at height.
The delta wing configuration of the Vulcan was its most distinctive feature, but it wasn't just for show.
The Vulcan is an appealing aircraft, both aesthetically and from an engineering logical standpoint. The thickness of that wing allows you to house a lot of things inside of it, a lot of crew area, bomb compartments, and so forth.
It has very peculiar characteristics. For example, you can fly a delta wing up to an extremely high angle of attack in the air, and it will still fly straight and level if you've got the power to make it go along.
Just as fashion changes with the times, so did the Vulcan, which got a new role and a new paint job after improved Soviet missile technology meant the bombers were vulnerable at altitude. So it was adapt or die. The Vulcan was now a low-level camouflaged attack bomber.
So at the last minute you'd come to 500 feet, open the doors and hit the release button, and the bombs would come off in a stick. Ching, 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 ching.
And even then you could feel the blast of the bomb hit you as you went past, so it wasn't a good idea to go much lower.
Already on the RAF chopping block in 1982, the Vulcan won a reprieve and its first and only taste of combat during the Falklands War.
Obviously, sending a Vulcan was one very persuasive message, because although they used it to drop a bomb on the runway at Port Stanley, it was a clear message that mainland Argentina was in reach.
It turned out to be a round trip of over 8,000 miles, which at the time was the longest bombing sortie that had ever been attempted.
Flying the Vulcan in combat was stressful enough for the crew, but like many things British, the Vulcan had a class system, which in an emergency meant that in all likelihood only the pilots would survive.
It was an us and them aircraft. The 2 pilots sat on ejection seats. The 3 rear crew sat down the back in a black hole. They could not see out. They were facing to the rear, and they were not on ejection seats. If you got a serious problem at low level, and we did have several aircraft do this, the rear crew were unquestionably going to die.
The Vulcan, as cool as it looks, bows out at number 6 because there just weren't enough ejection seats to go round. And to add insult to injury, the bomber ended its flying career as an aerial tanker. We're halfway through